Welcome back to RV News, your number one source for the most up-to-date, real-time developments surrounding the Iraqi Dinar, the Vietnamese Dong, and all things related to the global currency revaluation movement. If you're holding IQD or VND, or even just following the RV narrative closely, then you'll want to stay tuned for this one, because today we're diving into what could be the most shocking development yet in the currency world. Reports are flooding in from multiple unofficial but credible sources, suggesting that the IQD is being priced at 6.71 and the VND at 4.02 in back-end systems. That's right. These numbers aren't typos, and if true, they could signal that the long-awaited RV is not just on the horizon, it may already be underway. So grab your notes, turn off distractions, and let's dive deep into this stunning turn of events. For years, the Dinar and Dong communities have been full of speculation, anticipation, and a healthy dose of skepticism. Many have waited patiently, even through ridicule, holding on to their positions while watching central bank policies, geopolitical shifts, and global financial movements. The dinar especially has long been considered a suppressed currency, with its true value obscured by decades of sanctions, war, and economic rebuilding. The Vietnamese Dong has followed a similar trajectory, operating under a tightly controlled exchange regime, with many analysts saying it's significantly undervalued compared to Vietnam's robust and growing economy. But now, we're hearing chatter that makes all that waiting and watching feel incredibly justified. The big question circulating in every currency forum, Telegram group, and financial back channel right now is this: are these new rates real? Could we finally be seeing the long-anticipated reset of the global financial system? According to multiple insider leaks, certain private banking screens, often referred to as back-end or Tier 1 platforms, are showing the Iraqi Dinar at a mind-blowing 6.71 and the Vietnamese Dong at 4.02. Now, this isn't what's appearing on public forex platforms just yet, so don't expect to walk into your local exchange center and receive those numbers, at least not today. But what's important here is that these figures, if accurate, are being positioned as the locked-in contract or redemption rates for early exchange groups and sovereign deals. What does that mean for the rest of us? Well, if you've been following RV News, you'll know that the revaluation process is rumored to unfold in structured stages. First come the sovereign groups, the whales, the high-net-worth individuals tied into historic bonds and redemption platforms. Then come the structured Tier 4 groups like the internet group that most of our audience is part of. Finally, it opens up to the general public, often referred to as Tier 5. So if these high-level numbers are indeed being populated into the bank's internal systems, then it's safe to assume we're in the critical countdown window before broader access begins. Adding fuel to the fire are reports that exchange centers across the US, Canada, Australia, and parts of Europe have begun prepping for high-volume appointments. Several Tier 1 banks, including Wells Fargo, Chase, and HSBC, have reportedly been training staff behind closed doors for months. Some sources even suggest that private NDA-based briefings have been held for currency holders, guiding them through the exchange process with specific rate tiers outlined, including the very figures we're discussing today: 6.71 for the IQD and 4.02 for the VND. So, what would such a rate change mean economically and geopolitically? Let's start with Iraq. If the dinar truly revalues at over $6 per unit, it would instantly catapult Iraq into a global economic spotlight. The nation's oil reserves, which are among the richest in the world, would suddenly be backed by a currency with incredible purchasing power that could drive foreign investment into Iraq at an unprecedented scale. Infrastructure, education, healthcare, and military sectors would all see massive expansion. And from a global debt balance perspective, countries holding IQD and reserves could see dramatic shifts in their fiscal outlooks. For Vietnam, a VND valuation of 4.02 would be equally transformative. The country's export-driven economy would initially face adjustments, but with smart monetary policies and support from global trading partners, Vietnam could rapidly transition into a high-income economy. Labor markets would see wage corrections, and the purchasing power of Vietnamese citizens would skyrocket. It could also shift global manufacturing balances, as companies reevaluate labor costs in Vietnam versus other Southeast Asian countries. But this leads to the next critical question. Why? Now? Why are these rates appearing suddenly after years of stagnation and rumors? The timing might be far from coincidental. 2025 is shaping up to be a pivotal year in global finance. The BRICS nations are moving aggressively toward implementing alternative currency systems and trade settlements. The US dollar's dominance, while still significant, is facing pressure. Central bank digital currencies are being tested and rolled out in multiple countries. All of this creates an environment ripe for a currency reset. And let's not forget the mounting pressure from sovereign debt, inflationary concerns, and global supply chain instability. A financial event like the RV could serve as a tool for resetting or rebalancing these complex macroeconomic dynamics. Skeptics will naturally raise their eyebrows, and rightly so. After all, how many times have we heard it's happening now only to be disappointed? The Dinar and Dong communities have weathered countless false starts. But what makes this moment feel different is the convergence of tangible markers. Actual rates appearing in controlled environments, coordinated movements within banking institutions, and growing chatter among normally tight-lipped insiders. Even some mainstream financial analysts, once dismissive of the RV concept, are beginning to acknowledge that something unusual is brewing behind the scenes. Another point worth exploring is the security and verification procedures being implemented. Sources suggest that biometrics, retina scans, and digital fingerprints are being incorporated into the exchange process, especially for those redeeming large amounts. This isn't just about keeping fraud at bay. It's about making sure the right people receive the right value at the right time. If true, this level of coordination implies that governments and institutions are fully aware of what's unfolding, and they're preparing for a tightly managed rollout. And what about the average person holding IQD or VND? How should they prepare? First and foremost, it's critical not to panic or act rashly. Don't rush to banks just yet. What's appearing on internal platforms may take time to reflect publicly. However, now is the time to review your exchange strategy. Do you know which banks are rumored to be involved? Have you reviewed your identification documents, set up a trust or LLC if you plan to, and considered who will be part of your post-RV financial team? If these rates go live, you won't just be exchanging currency, you'll be managing generational wealth. It's also worth noting that different rates might be offered depending on your exchange path. For example, those going through a redemption center under NDA might receive the full 6.71 for the IQD, whereas those exchanging later through public banks might see something closer to 350 or less. Similarly, for the VND, the 4.02 rate might be a top-tier contract-based offer, while general rates may hover between $1 and $2 initially. Being aware of your options and the implications of signing an NDA, or choosing not to, is absolutely essential. Some in the community have also raised questions about taxation. While no official public guidance has been issued yet, various legal and financial experts suggest that exchanges, especially under NDA, could be treated differently from a typical capital gain scenario. That said, always consult with a trusted CPA or financial advisor. The worst mistake you could make post-RV is assuming the rules, only to find yourself owing substantial sums to the IRS or your country's tax authority. Let's take a moment to address the humanitarian side of this potential RV. Many in the community have long planned to use their newfound wealth to support global and local causes, from building schools and hospitals to funding clean water projects and supporting veterans. If these rates are real and go live soon, we may be entering a window where thousands, even millions of currency holders become instant philanthropists. The ripple effects could be extraordinary, not just in financial markets, but in communities across the globe. This could be a defining moment for what it means to steward wealth with wisdom and compassion. At RV News, we're committed to keeping you informed with accurate, vetted updates. That means sifting through the noise and delivering what matters most. Today's report on the IQD at 6.71 and the VND at 4.02 is based on multiple cross-referenced accounts. While we can't officially confirm the rates until they're made public or accessible at exchange locations, The evidence is becoming increasingly hard to ignore. Something major is happening, and it's happening now. So what's next? We're hearing whispers of an official announcement window opening as early as this weekend. Redemption centers are said to be running final simulations, and banking software systems are being updated.